I said in my last video that I'll do a product review on the Chinese nesty thingamajiggy that I got off eBay. Now this isn't the exact same one that I featured in that video because it's slightly larger and slightly different, but the principles are basically the same when putting it together. So this is how it arrives after you take it out of the box. Bit of a flat pack like an IKEA job with all the protective wrapping around the plastic. So before I cracked on with anything, I obviously had to take that off. But what you'd also notice is that the inner tube, I'm not talking about my bikes, I'm talking about amps. The test tubes that you got with it were both broken, which is a bit of a downer. Now I've emailed the guy that sold it to me off of eBay. Don't think I'm going to hear back. Ask for a replacement, probably not going to get it. On the plus side though, they look like the standard size test tubes you get when you purchase ants from a retailer. So I had to go looking for more ants last night and purchase some more. Any excuse. Right, unless you've got an engineering degree or a master at puzzles, this thing's a right pain in the bum. So how I tend to do it is I break it down into the component parts. So you see the bits I'm stacking here, they're the test tube holders, so I know they all go together. The next simple thing to easily identify is going to be the lid aspect of it. So I've put aside the lid parts of it and stuck them together as well, so they're in a pile. If you see here, I forgot to take off the protective covering, so that's what it comes in. So just peel that off. So don't forget that this doesn't come with instructions. We need to break it down to its component parts, and that's what I'm doing now, because we need to attack this logically. Right, as you can see, I'm putting all the lid parts together there. I'm just going to speed it up, because there's no point in talking through it all, because it takes forever. So there's the outworld parts. There's the base with the nuts and bolts and stuff, and here's the nest area. So I've got the test tube holder there, I've got the lid area here, I've got the outworld parts there, and I've got the base with the nuts and bolts and stuff like that, and I've got the nest area here. Right, so I'm going to remove the bits that I don't need and do a bit of a speed up. Right, I'm going to work on the lid here. Now you need to keep referring to the picture itself, because there was a strange little bolty thing, I didn't know what it was. So I looked at the picture and it was blatantly a handle for it. Now, so what I did, I needed to line it all up and put the mesh into it, then screw it together, like I'm doing here. Now, you'll also notice that I've got a Leatherman, no, it's a Gerber actually, a Gerber out to tighten up the bolts, because I haven't got a small screw thing there, so I improvised. But what I did do, you need to be careful of this, is you don't over tighten it. So I just put my finger on the Phillips head side of it to hold it in place and tighten it with a Leatherman. Otherwise, you could risk over tightening it and splitting your plastic. You don't want that. So once I've put it all together, and now I know the lid bit's done, I'm going to move that aside and work on the next bit. Time for a sneak angle change. Right, this is the bit that connects the nest and the outworld. There's the hole where they get in and out of, and these are the lips that connect to the base. And this is the top. You see how it's smoother, so we know that's the top and that's the bottom. Right, you'll be surprised how many times I've got this upside down. It's when building the outworld bit, I'm stupid. And this is the holes where the lips go into on the base. Now we've identified that, we need to move on to the nest area itself. And my God, my dog is snoring loudly. Right, so you need to get these together, but there's no easy way to figure out how these guys all go together. So you need to look at the evidence and see where it goes. Now, I know that that's got the base of here overlaps. I know that's the very end outside, because that's like the standy part for the nest. In referring to the picture, I knew that the solid white part was like the bit that connects to the outworldy part, or the most central part. So I need to look at how to orientate it. You see that screws there and the screws there, so I know that that screw's got to line up with everybody else, so all the others should have that hole. So then what I needed to do then was, I knew the clear parts were next, so get some clear parts and see where they go. All right, see if they line up all right. You need to approach this logically, kind of, if you can, guys. So then I've placed that on top. Then this one, I know that these got the holes for the water and the humidity, so I know that's got to go in somewhere next. And the next part has the hole in it, as you can see here, where the hydration sponge goes. So you need to line them all up. I realised here that I'd made a mistake putting the orders in, so I had to take that one off and stick the black one on. And how I realised that will come apparent in a second. Now I realised that because you can see here there's little lips, and the segregation parts go through there and on there, so I know full well that those are the last two bits, and none of the other parts had that, so I knew that the black bit had to go on before the clear bit. So to break down how I got the order right, I was looking for the part that goes to the next to the outworld, then looking at the hydration area where that goes, the spaces for the hydration area, so they need to go on, and then near the end looking at where the segregation area goes, and then I know, because that all fits nicely, I've got it in the right area. Right area? What am I on today? Right sequence. Jeez. Right, so as you know, I like to modify it and put red filters on it. So I need the red filter itself. I need a sharp knife, but that is blunt as anything, as you'll see later on. And you're also going to need a pen, which I didn't put in this bit. So I identified the part that I needed to cut the plastic around, and this is what you can see me doing here. Just put it on there and cut around it so you got a nice clean shape, should I say, to it, but I need to chop extra bits off here. Right, that's it. You can see I've got some extra bits, so just clean it off. I mean, it's optional really. If you're not fussed about it being a bit messy, it's not a drama. Now, as you guys know, I've got little segregation areas and I've got the hole for the hydration, so I need to take that all into account. So what I needed to do was to line up the outside part, which has got all the holes and stuff in it, and then mark them up and then cut around them. Now, for some reason I decided to do this the hardest way possible, so I put it over the top and then cut the hydration hole out. But then when I did that, I decided actually I might need it to be a bit bigger, so I got the other bit out like this and then cut an even bigger hole. Now why I did it this way and not just didn't mark it out, God only knows, but I guess I'm just weird. Now, even though this being the second time I built a nest like this and put a filter on it, I still decided to go around it the hardest way possible. So what I needed to do was mark out the holes where the screws went, because once I've done that I can line it all up so I know it fits nice and snug. I also got one of the parts for the test tube holder just to make sure that's nice. And when you're cutting these holes in, guys, do X's, because then the screw will pop through it quite easily, as you can see here. Bit of a struggle, but it still pops through. As you can see here, I get the test tube holder quite a fair few times and just check that, confirm to myself that it's all lined up properly, because there's nothing wrong with double, triple checking, and then you make a mistake like I did. Then, being my clever self, I forgot about the slits that I needed to make in it so the segregation areas can go off. So I got my trusty pen and marked them out while it was all in situ. Then I'd know they'd line up pretty well. The good thing about doing this way is I know that the lines would be lined up with all the holes and stuff like that. So I just took it off and then cut the little slits in. You need to make them fairly big so the bits of segregation area, bits of thingies, majiggies that you get can fit in comfortably, but not too much, you let in too much white light in, because like I said, we don't want too much white light going in. And to make sure everything fitted properly and the holes were lined up all right, I just put it on top to make sure I was happy, and I was. Whoop. For the second filter, all you need to do is identify the part that goes next to the outworld and then just cut around it and then cut the holes into it, as you can see here. No fancy pants holes, slits or anything like that, so it's just simple and no dramas. Right, now that bit's done, we can move on to the building it up part. Now, I got the test tube part holder and then put it together using the same sequence as I did with the nest, so the black isn't in a different place. Now, Captain Hindsight's to the rescue here. I could have just built the main nest part of it instead of doing this bit first, but I thought big screws, you know, it will all connect up groovy. Yeah, it made it more fiddly for me. Now, like I said, Captain Hindsight to the rescue, and I would have built the nest and then bolted that on through, but I didn't do it that way, so you're gonna have to now watch me do it my difficult way. Hope you enjoy that. Now, because we did our bit of due diligence before, we know the exact sequence it's all going to go together now, so all we need to do is just put it together. That hydration thingamajiggy there, I soaked it in water first so it was nice and wet for when I put it in, because I don't want it to like not be 100% wet and have weird humidity all over the nest. Then all I do then is just stick it all together, as you can see here, squishing it down. It can be a bit of a squeeze when you've got that hydration bit in the way, but it's not a major issue. So putting it together now, and I put the red filter on and I realised I had messed up again. I hadn't put the hole in for the access to the nest, so rather than doing it logically, taking it off, measuring it up and stuff like that, no, I'm going to do the difficult way and the messy way and try and poke a hole in it using my blunt knife and through the hole so I can get it sized up. Yeah, don't do it that way, guys. Just be smart, don't be an idiot like me. Mark it with your pen and then take it off and score around it so you got a nice neat hole and not the jagged mess that I ended up making. But that's why I do these videos, guys. Let me make the mistakes so you can learn the bits that I messed up on and you guys can do a better job. I'm here to help, guys, just here to help. As I didn't want to embarrass myself making a dog's dinner of it, I skipped a bit and I just cut the hole out. Really messy job, by the way, but cut the hole out and I'm now putting it together. Right, we're nearly there, guys, we're nearly there. All I'm doing now is screwing it together. Like I said, remember, guys, don't over tighten it. You over tighten it, you're going to split the plastic and it's going to be no good. So take your time. But what I did notice is that the little segregation areas they provided me with were too big, so I had to cut them down to size to fit them in. Now, I don't know how difficult it is for them to measure up the sizes for this, because it wasn't difficult for me, but obviously too difficult for the manufacturers, but never mind. Do you know what? I don't even know why I'm complaining about it. This kit was like less than 20 quid and you get quite a fair bit of kit for it. So maybe I should just expect that. I don't know. Anyway, so put the screws in, like I said, finger tight them, and then I got my Leatherman, no it wasn't Leatherman, it was a Gerber. I got my Gerber here and tightened them up. Now I didn't over tighten them because I only had my finger secure in the Phillips head side of it, and then used my Gerber to tighten it up so it was nice and secure and not too tight to crack it. As you guys know, I like to use electrical tape to black it all out. Now this part's the really easy part, just putting the outweld together. You just get the two parts, making sure you connect the ends into it, put the nest onto it with those little elastic ties, which we'll go into more detail in a second. Put it all together, get the base and stick that on. And we're nearly there, guys, nearly there. Now I've slowed this bit down so we can see it properly. These elastic ties are pretty good considering. They do make quite a nice tight seal. So all you do is hold one end down and then just hook it over the other end. Now be careful because they will flick across the room if you allow them, so make sure you've got your hand there to stop it happening. But yeah, and then once that's done, you're finished, finally. Now this bit of kit comes with a little hydration thing as well, and I'll show you that in a second, but it was broken anyway. But the test tube, you put the little nub in the end and you poke it in, which is good, and it automatically hydrates it. God knows what, this is the hydration system. I have no idea how it works. It's broken anyway. I was just playing around guessing with how it all goes together. Truth is, I ain't got a Scooby-Doo. Maybe I'll use it, probably won't. Taking aside the complex nature of putting it together with a lack of instructions, I actually like this kit again. I think it's a good bit of kit, and for less than 20 quid, bargain. I mean, I can't fault it. Now if you look at this picture here, this is it next to the other one that I did for my latest Nigers. Now it's a fairly bit bigger outworld, fairly bit bigger nest, so it's probably worth the extra £8, I think so. Wow, this has turned out to be my longest video ever. I mean, wow. But anyway, I hope you like that product review. Got some more coming up soon. I'll try not to drone on as much, but building that thing was a pain in the bum in the highest order. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I hope to see you on my next one. Bye bye for now.